Holy shit! I've always admired the work of Robert Rodriguez. Not only are his movies entertaining as hell, but he has always made them with like the most minimal resources imaginable. What he lacks in budget, he makes up for in creativity. You have to admire how much he's accomplished with so little. His first movie, El Mariachi, is the lowest budgeted movie to gross over $1 million at the box office. It only cost $7 grand to make. Some of his kids' movies are staples of my childhood. But, like every director, every movie is gonna be a hit or miss. For every Spy Kids, there's a shorts. Rodriguez directed and wrote shorts, and Troublemaker Studios produced it and Warner Brothers distributed it. The film stars Jimmy Bennett, Joey Veneer, Trevor Gannon, Jake Short, John Cryer, Leslie Mann, James Spader, William H. Macy, and Kat Dennings. It was released on August 21st, 2009, and it had a budget of $20 million and grossed $29 million at the box office. The movie opens with the brother and sister in an epic staring contest, with the loser having to do you-know-what. What is this you-know-what? I don't know. Set in Black Falls, Texas, everyone in town works for this Apple and possibly BlackRock allegory, Black Box, who designs a device that does literally everything. Mr. Carbon Black owns Black Box, subtle, who, to get more results from his workforce, pits his employees against each other. He splits his employees into teams, and Mr. and Mrs. Thompson are on different teams. I like Mr. Black. I think he's a funny villain. He's just so comically evil and greedy that you can't help but laugh at the ridiculousness. James Spader has this funny juxtaposition in his performance where his facial expressions are stoic, but his body movements are over-exaggerated. It makes him the most fun adult in the movie to watch. It cuts back to Toby's narration, but he claims that this story is so complicated that he doesn't remember the correct order of events. Because of this, he tells the story in separate shorts. I don't like the trope of flashing forward to the movie's climax. Other movies present flash forwards in a way that makes you guess what will happen next. But here, they're showing you what's going to happen next. I also respect that Robert Rodriguez went for a non-linear storyline, which I don't see in kids' movies that often. However, while the different character perspectives are well done, it doesn't give an unpredictable narrative style because of the narration, where Toby is commenting on what happens. Every other kids' movie of that era began with the lame, "Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got into this mess" narration. Toby is our narrator, and he's going through the same problems kids go through in the late 2000s kids' movies. No friends, obnoxious braces, parents with a troubled marriage, a sister who hates him, and a bully who might have a crush on him. The no friends trope is one of my least favorite tropes in a kids movie. I get that they're trying to build sympathy for the character and make us root for the underdog, but it always came off as sad and unnecessarily mean. And it's not like it's his fault that he's a loner. Why does he have no friends? He stopped hanging out with the friend that his mom was forcing him to hang out with. How am I supposed to feel bad for him when he's bringing this on himself? I was a loner at his age too, but I didn't complain. I just hung out with the friends that I already had. We show his school life, where Cole and Helvetica Black, the kids of Mr. Black, bully him. Helvetica is the most fun kid to watch. She has this evil aura, always ready to go to war. I couldn't stop giggling at her performance. Toby accuses Helvetica of bullying him to mask her feelings for him, which goes how you would expect. He meets his classmate Lugie, who gets dragged away by his brothers. Those effects look like I did them. Why did they leave that in? The bullies ambush Toby in a display of over-the-top effects and poor editing. Cole hurls a strange rock at Toby, which tells him to make a wish. He wishes for friends, and tiny aliens appear. Are these the funny type of aliens, like those in Nanobots and Jimmy Neutron? Nope, there's no personality to these characters. He goes back to school and gives a decently funny line.
How'd you like your braces up your nose? Your braces. Where are they? Up my nose.
The aliens activate Toby's black box, causing Toby to accidentally hit Helvetica when he tries to grab it from them. In a weirdly dark twist, Helvetica goes to eat a goldfish that Toby likes. I've seen some pretty bad bullies, but that is fucked. The aliens abandon Toby, and an explosion in class causes Toby to knock the fish out of Helvetica's mouth and knock both of them out the window. The aliens beat Cole and his gang, but not Helvetica, where Toby needs them the most. Of course they're playing football. Ironically, the aliens were just as incompetent as the Jimmy Neutron nanobots.
He wished for friends. We should abduct him. He is not evolved enough for an autopsy. He has friends all around. He just doesn't know it yet.
Okay, that was a good line. We see Toby and Helvetica eating together, and there's this bizarre scene where she eats with her feet, and they film it in such detail that it's just uncomfortable. Thankfully, Dan Schneider had nothing to do with this movie. We switch perspectives to Lugie and his brothers, which will explain the origins of the wishing rock. The wishing rock just fell out of the sky. That's it. There's no real explanation for its origin. We never get a backstory. Lugie and his brothers find it, and Lugie asks for an infinite supply of chocolate bars. He and his brothers have this dynamic where Lugie is the moron, and Laser and Lug, yes, those are their names, are cynical. Lugie claims dibs on the rock because he's the one who found it, and wishes for a fortress surrounded by a moat with venomous snakes and crocodiles. Oh, what a brat. He's hoping for all of this crap over world peace or something. He can at least be a likable shithead, and his brothers are just dicks. None of them are likable. During the late 2000s, many kids' media characters had a SpongeBob Squidward dynamic where one was positive, childish, and friendly, and the other one was negative, adultish, and mean. But here, one is childish and stupid, and the others are just mean and negative. They find the rock, but run into crocodiles and venomous snakes, who conveniently appear just as soon as they find the rock.
What do I do? If it was a video game, you'd go get the rock. Good idea. But it's not a video game.
Why would you say that if you know your brother is that stupid? If you ask me, you're just as stupid as him. Lugie jumps in the crocodile to retrieve the rock, ew, but the crocodile pukes him back up. They run into crocodiles, which can stand on two legs, and escape them by wishing for a pterodactyl to take them away. Do not adjust whatever audio output device you're watching this on. I really did just say the sentence, they run into crocodiles, which can stand on two legs, and they wish for a pterodactyl to take them away. Never in my life. They're just throwing stuff to the wall and seeing what sticks. It's like Rodriguez wrote this movie using Mad Libs. Regular show episodes aren't as insane as this. I don't know what mushrooms Robert Rodriguez was on, but I want some. The pterodactyl drops them off at the fortress. Lugie gives himself telekinesis, wishes the crocodiles away, and gets pooped on by the pterodactyl. Ew. After they get home, he wishes for one of them to be a super genius, and their baby sister is the one to receive that wish. This convinces them to get rid of the rock. They wish for the catapult, and the baby launches the rock as soon as they choose to mature with their wishes. Good. These events reveal how Toby found the rock. The next short is about a kid literally named Nose, who used to have a forced friendship with Toby. Nose's father is Dr. Noseworthy, the germophobic top scientist for Black Box. He is deathly afraid of germs because of all the research he does on germs. So this is what overeducated is. The doctor and his son live in hazmat suits and wrap their house in plastic. Stacy, Toby's sister, tutors Nose, and I'm allowed to think she's hot because she's 23 in the movie, and so was Kat Dennings when this movie came out. Even though she's 23, she acts more like a teenager, making her unlikable. She has a subplot with her boyfriend who says he keeps growing and growing. This subplot is for one twist in the climax, which we'll get to later. Nose picks his nose and flicks his booger away. Ew. His dad goes off on him, and William H. Macy does a surprisingly fantastic job acting like a neurotic shut-in scientist. His performance has no business being this good. He and Nose have a close relationship, which is refreshing. Nose finds the rock with Stacy and wishes for his dad's inventions to work. Toby and Lugie stop at Nose's house to find the rock, and Nose is pissed at Toby for ghosting him. Nose's wish creates a booger monster who breaks out of the lab while Toby and Nose break into the house. Noseworthy sees them on camera and his main concern is that they contaminate his house. Yikes, the dude needs to touch grass. Toby and Lugie run into Noseworthy and Stacy, and Lugie starts hitting on Stacy, which isn't funny at all. The monster breaks out of the lab and eats the rock, and hilariously enough, Noseworthy is in complete control of the situation. Toby gets the rock by sticking his hand in the monster, ew, and Nose. Just play the fucking clip.
If you eat my friend, I'll eat yours.
Yeah, this is the worst short in the movie. I'm as nostalgic as the next guy, but the gross out stuff in kids movies at the time is something I do not miss. A lot of writers thought that kids always found gross out stuff funny. I first saw this movie when I was 9, and even then, I thought it was gross. I thought it wasn't funny. Just because something is gross, that does not make it funny. If you think, well, it's just kid stuff, who cares if it's gross? I really question your mentality, because porn is gross, and we shouldn't be letting kids watch that stuff. I don't know if they were trying to copy the success of another gross out show, but if they were, it was hit and miss at best. Noseworthy saves the kids. Nose leaves his house for the first time in years, and the father-son duo overcomes their fear of the outdoors. The next short focuses on Toby's parents attending a party at Mr. Black's house. Toby and Helvetica talk with their black box taped to a microphone. They were about 5 years ahead of their time with microphones like that in their room. Bill and Jane are having problems communicating, also 5 years ahead of their time.
I like my phone, email, text messages, movies, music, ham, radio. It's the world at my fingertips. I've got mail.
Why do so many kids movies have these deep ass lines? They're usually just one in a series of many others.
Do you think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
For every person who dreams up the electric light bulb, there's the one who dreams up the atom bomb.
You don't remember?
For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Lugie calls Toby and says he found out where the rock is from. Why doesn't the movie just show him finding it in a book, a website, or on the TV? Like, why does it have to be footage of him just calling Toby, being like, "Hey, I found the origins of the rock." It's like, okay, why don't you show us finding the origins of the rock? It's like in Empire Strikes Back. Instead of the movie showing Vader telling Luke that he's his father, Luke is on the spaceship in the hospital later telling Layla that you're never gonna believe this. Darth Vader is my father. You know, stuff like that. It's just show, don't tell. Ugh. Bill and Jane arrive at the party. Jane, who found the wishing rock in Toby's room, wishes for her and Bill to be closer. They get stuck together and try their best to keep it a secret. Toby sneaks into the party, and we see that Carbon and Helvetica don't have the best relationship. Cole grabs Toby and makes the weirdest face I've ever seen. It's giving "I want you to be my new playmate" vibes. That face gives off Cinnamony Monster from Chowder vibes, dog. He wants to put you in his basement somewhere if he makes that face like that. He dunks him in the trash, and Helvetica wishes for him to be a dung beetle. Carbon gets his hands on the wishing rock and wishes his employees to get a go-for-the-throat spirit, causing a huge fight. After learning its power, the main characters fight for the rock. Helvetica wishes for Carbon to listen to her for once, causing his ears to become large. She wishes for a rocket bike, accompanied by her theme music, only for her to crash in 20 seconds. Those who saw my Arthur and the Invisibles review will know how much I care about there being a point to a build-up like that. Toby gets the rock and wishes for everyone to return to normal. He hurls the rock so Helvetica doesn't get her hands on it, and it lands at Nose's house, showing how it wound up there in the first place. Bill and Jane learn how to break the disconnect and put each other before work. The final sequence, the end, occurs right after Nose's story. Toby and Lugie try to escape with the rock but get stopped by Mr. Black. The kids escape with the rock and all the neighborhood kids fight for it, making ridiculous wishes to keep it for themselves. Mr. Black gets his hands on the rock, his security guard gets his hands on the rock, and the cycle just repeats. Stacy's boyfriend, John, shows up. He turned into a giant after Stacy wished that he would grow up earlier. Mr. Black wishes he would become the most powerful thing in the universe, and the kids turn themselves into giant insects to fight him, even though they can just wish that he would turn back to normal. Then again, we wouldn't have much of a climax if that were the case. The battle outside distracts the staring contest twins earlier, causing the sister to blink, losing the epic staring contest. They did not add anything to the movie other than that gag. I kind of admire how ball-to-the-wall insane the climax is. The baby comes in and tells them the rock has had enough of their wishes, and they must get rid of the rock before it destroys the town. Noseworthy uses germs he's been using for experiments to magnify cells in their bodies and hold hands together, to combine energy against the rock. They get rid of the rock. Mr. Black decides to end the separate team strategy and have his employees working together. Toby and Helvetica bury the hatchet. Bill and Jane come together for the first time, which is kind of sad considering they've been married for at least 20 years. Nose and his dad continue with their experiments, and Mr. Black and Bill become friends and create Green Box, a more sustainable version of the black box. The movie ends with a wide shot of the kids walking, implying that they are an established franchise and will have a sequel in the future, which is hilarious considering how bad this movie bombed. Shorts has its moments, but I can see why most people my age don't remember it. Short is creative and energetic, but the humor ranges from unfunny to just plain gross. The non-linear storyline, while original, doesn't really add anything to the story. It's cliche ridden, and the characters are nothing special. If you go on a Rodriguez binge this weekend, skip this one and watch Machete instead. Until then, join us next time when I review the work of Roland Emmerich. Until then, my name is DomozoveoGZ. Thanks for watching.